A goddess asked him a favor under that gorgeous sunset. She wanted him to save a dying world. No pressure. So he fought with everything he had against those monsters. The fight's over, but his teammates are completely gone. His face is covered in blood, barely holding on. Just a little more rest, that's all he wants. His eyes close, surrendering to the inevitable Darkney, just for a brief moment. Famous last words, honestly: 31 regressions, 17 possessions, 7 reincarnations. 55 total cycle. Hez falling through golden space, completely fed up with everything. Another round, another hellish grind that led absolutely nowhere. A divine hand reaches down. He notes this run was long. Long, huh? Yeah, 55 cycles of suffering is definitely long. The goddess appears in all her radiant, expressionless glory. She casually suggests another reincarnation, Hez absolutely losing it. This blank-faced being is supposedly a goddess? Surprising, right? She didn't call him here. She straight up kidnapped him. Flashback: she plucked him as a kid and threw him worlds away. That's when the nightmare began. Death after brutal death. Game over screens flash repeatedly. He just keeps dying. 55 cycles of torment in her report remains completely unknown. He snaps. Find that or report yourself, officially done. Then he flat out refuses her demand, screaming it'll destroy his mind. The goddess finds his breakdown strange. Her equipment is functioning. He recalls how every death's pain resurfaces, gnawing his sanity. The accumulated trauma from 55 deaths has pushed him over the edge. She cheerfully asks about the next regression, and he snaps. Next, she coldly states his request is biologically impossible for her body. He collapses, claiming he was just joking and clearly broken. A close-up shows his utter shock at her next word. The goddess tells him Hez earned the right to return home. Hez stunned, asking if it's over despite his failure. She explains the process mattered more and snaps her finger. He protests, wanting answers as his feet begin to glow. She thanks him, saying his power will connect as Hez pulled away. Her final words are a chilling promise to see him there. A blinding flash of light engulfs him completely. He wakes to his mother's voice, disoriented by the intense light. Hez back in reality 18 months later, stomach in knot. A hand grips a doorknob, the transition jarring. He reflects on the 18 months since his return memories flooding back. For a moment, he realizes the goddess kidnapped him the day before his enlistment. His military discharge papers sit in a basket, a stark reminder. He vents his frustration, pouring a drink with a scowl. Suddenly, he recalls doing military service 6 times across the cycle. Adjusting to modern life is hell. Hez struggling to find an internship. Slumping in his chair, he despairs over his bleak future. Hanbit groans, slowly getting up from his chair. Yanwu texts, asking if they're hanging out today. Hanbit texts back, complaining Hez too old for Thee. Yanwu teases him, asking if he's scared. Hanbit remembers Yanwu helped him during army service. Yanwu says he has a discharge present. Hanbit's interest is piqued, wondering what it I. Yanwu calls him over to a cafe. Yanwu introduces himself and orders a drink. They banter about drinking and being young. Hanbit directly asks about the present. Yanwu playfully delays, wanting to enjoy the moment. Yanwu reveals a shiny membership card. He explains it's for a record project, a game. Hanbit examines the level 2 card closely. Yanwu mentions it cost 500 but insists it's free. Hanbit jokes about needing security or a roommate. Yanwu declines, saying he starts a job tomorrow. Hanbit stresses that making money comes first. Yanwu calls him unromantic and practical. Hanbit retorts that romance doesn't pay the bill. Yanwu gets heated, talking about game jackpot. He claims you can win hundreds of million. Hanbit is shocked, repeating the amount slowly. Yeonwoo leans in, insisting Hez serious about the money. The man in white bows, deeply apologizing to Sergeant Ju Yeonwoo. Yeonwoo checks his phone, confused about Team Zero and the will. The will went public. First player to clear RP gets everything. Yanwu realizes clearing strategies alone are worth absolute fortunes now. Big corporations are forming teams, but solo players still qualify. Yanwu grins, pumped up. Hez officially committing to this challenge. Glasses clink as they toast. His Hyun clearly believes in him. They finish up at the cafe, ready to head out immediately. There they arrive at the special event zone building outside. The crowd is absolutely massive. Yanwu's friend isn't even phased. He gets dragged through the crowd by his collar, protesting loudly. His friend insists on buying a newbie guidebook first before anything. Yenwu holds the ornate book, warned RP destroys unprepared beginner. Adventurer wrote this lifesaver guide. His friend almost quit without it. Yenwu reluctantly opens the book just to skim the content. His expression drops immediately. Something inside shocks him completely. The book glows purple mysteriously. He mutters, "Why is this here?" He reads the name aloud. Find Erfort. His eyes widen. His Hyung stares at his phone in the shadows. Realizing something, he snatches the book away. She never planned on letting him go. His friend calls out, startled by his sudden serious expression. Walking through the mall, his friend asks why he looks so worried. He holds up the guidebook and asks about Team Zero directly. Team Zero's head handles everything alone. Michael's youngest daughter, they say. He strokes his chin, suspicious about Team Zero's connection to that gade. His eyes narrow, whispering, "Why?" to himself. Golden light flickers in his gaze, memories resurfacing. Kneeling amid flames, realizing that world was never a game. Blood-soaked hands remembering the disgust of his first kill. Crumpled on the ground, feeling his first death's agony. The goddess looms, declaring failure. Despair crashes over him. He turns away, deciding this ends now. Back in reality, asking about gear delivery timing. The clerk requests his phone, mentioning 2-hour delivery. His friend teases him about the beat-up guidebook. They split up. Hell wait for the account setup. He waves goodbye, promising to log in soon. The package appears at his door almost instantly, holding the box, sweating over the 5 million won price tag. The sleek gaming headset and sensor rings gleam. He examines the rings, curiously testing their weight. Checking the lock. Still time before mom return. He straps the sensors onto his wrists carefully. Fully geared up, lying down, ready to dive in. System boots, character creation begins, feels more like surgery. He floats in digital space, noticing the gears heaven. Trying to customize his look, but settings won't appear. He taps the system panel, attempting a reboot. Red error flashes. Character creation has failed spectacularly. Existing character detected. The goddess strikes again. Static glitches across his vision. Something's loading wrong. A blue-haired avatar materializes, digital fragments swirling around him. Seagulls cry overhead as waves crash on distant shore. Port City, Edlin stretches before him. Long time no see. He stares at his reflection, recognizing a familiar face. Golden eyes widen. This avatar matches his final regression exactly. This is exactly how I looked back then. Chill. Blood splatters across his cheek. Phantom memories resurfacing. He stares at his crimson-stained hand, heart pounding. Start again. Flames erupt. His nightmare restarting all over. Friend requests flood in from someone named Roper begging. His breath catches. Recognition dawning slowly. Roper was Yeon Woo's nickname right. He fumbles the interface. A cheerful voice rings out. Someone's thrilled to see him. Yeon Woo appears, scolding him for not messaging immediately. Luxurious Roper, of course, Yeon Woo chose something this flashy. Yeon Woo questions why his avatar looks exactly like reality. Confusion strikes. Yeon Woo asks about his nickname, claiming he chose it. He taps his character info, fingers trembling slightly. Horror floods his face. What did the system assign him? I did not pick that. Change it immediately. Black Dragon. The nickname mocks him while Yeon Woo wheezes. He tackles Yeon Woo, demanding silence through gritted teeth. Notifications, my ass. He swipes the alert furiously. A broadcast notification appears. His gameplay is being streamed publicly. Yeonwoo casually explains his streaming setup to a skeptical Hanbit. He proposes a generous revenue split to convince his reluctant friend. Hanbit stares utterly unimpressed by the whole streaming idea. He reluctantly agrees, already calculating his potential cut of the earning. Yeonwoo grins, asking for just one chance to prove his plan. They go live, introducing themselves as the duo Black Dragon and Luxurious Roper. The chat immediately mocks Hanbit's edgy nickname, calling him a worm. Hanbit's eye twitches with barely contained rage at the insult. Yeonwoo reminds him their goal is money, not fighting with viewer. He winks, promising to show Hanbit what real flaming looks like. The game scans Hanbit, recommending basic skills that feel insultingly familiar. He touches the interface, wondering if his hard-earned techniques will register. Yeonwoo leans in, curious to see what skills his friend will get. A brilliant light erupts from the screen, shocking them both. A colossal cascading list of skills floods the air before them. They stand frozen mouths agape at the impossible sight. The list keeps scrolling, an endless torrent of ability. Yeonwoo's shock quickly turns into wild, excited shouting. The chat explodes with questions and accusations of hacking. Yeonwoo demands to know how Hanbit pulled off such a feat. Hanbit's eyes widen, a drop of sweat tracing his temple. He senses something familiar within the overwhelming data stream. Inside him, he starts to speak, a realization dawning on his face. Yeonwoo screams in triumph. They are all hidden skill. The screen glows with a grid of powerful, unique ability. Yeonwoo excitedly explains the game's recommendation system, but Hanbit remains unimpressed. Hanbit recognizes all the skill cards presented to him, a faint smile appearing. He selects a card, thinking this is actually a decent start. Then he plans to use these skills as a foundation to grow properly. Through that growth, Hell uncover how this world differs from his memory. And Hell finally learn what that goddess is truly after. He decides to start simply choosing to learn fire element magic first. Next, he turns to Yeonwoo, asking where one even finds quests here. Yeonwoo is shocked, questioning his choice to go the magic route. Others nearby mock him for chasing the romance of magic, calling it a joke. Hanbit is bewildered, asking Yeonwoo if magic is really considered trash. Yeonwoo explains the core issue. The game is all about proficiency. Building proficiency with magic is insanely hard compared to other skill. You can't even see your progress until you max it out for a star mark. A painful memory flashes back, Hanbit screaming in the rain having failed. He recalls that learning anything requires talent and effort, but magic was the hardest. Because of that difficulty, who you learn magic from matters immensely. He asks Yeonwoo who the teacher is, assuming he can choose. Yeonwoo is confused, asking what teacher has talking about. Hanbit insists someone must teach him, drawing confused looks from the crowd. Yeonwoo nervously tries to calm everyone down, explaining his friend is new. He clarifies that you learn skills from quest rewards, not from NPC teacher. Hanbit muses that skill books have made the world awfully convenient. Later, he's on the ground exhausted, begging his harsh instructor to stop. The instructor tells him to get up as he still has a mountain to learn. Yeonwoo questions why Hanbit is seeking out a specific magic bookseller. Hanbit dismisses the man as a pure scammer, calling him scum. A viewer donates money, jokingly threatening to sue Hanbit for slander. Yeonwoo cheerfully thanks the viewer for the small donation. Hanbit is shocked to realize they actually earned real money from streaming. Yeonwoo confirms Hanbit also earned a cut, surprising him further. The chat reacts to Hanbit's genuine shock, finding his purity amusing. Yeonwoo defends the value of even a small amount of money. Hanbit declares head save the money over Yeonwoo if both fell in water. Yeonwoo laughs off the insult and redirects them to find the magic teacher. Yeonwoo urges Hanbit to hurry, confused by his sudden stop. Hanbit insists he needs to find a specific magic teacher first. He shows Yeonwoo a profile for an NPC named Atsabel. Yeonwoo stares in stunned silence at the name. Yeonwoo warns Hanbit his roleplay concept will attract negative attention. Hanbit denies it's a concept, insisting he knows this teacher. Yeonwoo explains Atsabel is just a fraudulent quest NPC to player. He describes how she gets arrested and disappears from the game. Despite her bad reputation, her design is popular, leading to fan requests. Hanbit stubbornly insists on going to see Atsabel himself. The chat finds Hanbit's stubbornness frustrating for a supposed newbie. Hanbit finally relents, agreeing to visit the scammer Yulio instead. They make a bet. If Yulio is a scammer, Hanbit does a sexy dance. Hanbit boasts he can do such dances all day from past experience. Yeonwoo leads the way, but Hanbit questions the unfamiliar shortcut route. He spots the familiar shopkeeper through the dusty window, Yulio. The merchant gasps, recognizing him instantly. His fist clenches tight, old memories resurfacing painfully. That annoying memory drags him back to darker time. The blonde explains how advanced NPC interaction really I. Hyung, he mutters, eyes widening with sudden recognition. Heavy footsteps echo as he strides toward the shop. He bursts through the door with explosive force. Walking forward with purpose, shadows trailing behind him. Welcome customer Yulio greets with his signature smile. He grabs the shopkeeper by the collar, fury burning. You hopeless piece of garbage. He snarls through gritted teeth. The blonde watches from outside, completely stunned. Admin, we've got another one for you. Panic rising, he looms over the terrified merchant, eyes cold as ice. Could you please let go of my hand first? His gaze pierces through the shopkeeper with terrifying intensity. He slams the merchant's hand hard against the counter. The magic book was just sold. Last one in stock. It's not much, but I can introduce you elsewhere. On one condition. You do me a favor first. While dozing off, a thief snuck into my shop. That rival merchant Atsabel. I'm certain she took it. Would you help me go catch her? He pleads desperately. A quest appears. Yulios moneybag stolen, arrest Atsabel. He questions how turning a lie became an actual quest. Flashback reveals Atsabel framed him during his very first cycle. Someone calls him Atsabel's Manji Mutt from behind bar. A giant figure looms, mocking his only learned skill, stealing. He asks about the magic book, learns thieves never return. For a moment, he declares Atsabel will answer for her crimes too. His fist clenches tight with barely contained fury. The shopkeeper grins, asking what he thinks of the deal. He starts to leave, then suddenly bolts after someone. His friend yells at him for trashing the entire shop. The shopkeeper panics as items scatter across the floor. He grabs the bag, calling the shopkeeper a scamming bastard. Suddenly, he holds the glowing bag, confused about what's happening. A quest appears. Arrest the scammer Yulio for 500 gold. The shopkeeper's face drops, realizing the truth about Yulio. A brutal punch connects, sending the shopkeeper reeling. He stands over the beaten man, blood dripping from his fist. The shopkeeper crashes hard into the wall with tremendous force. His friend realizes Yulio was lying the whole time. Guards burst in, demanding answers, but it's already too late. His eyes narrow with cold, calculating determination. Cutscene triggers as guards drag the protesting shopkeeper away. He watches silently as they haul the man off. The shopkeeper screams behind bars, trapped in his own prison. His golden eyes gleam with something far more dangerous now. Surrounded by spears, he realizes this world's stakes feel different. He catches his breath, relieved the confrontation ended without bloodshed. His golden eyes narrow, recognizing something unsettling in the distance. Quest complete. 500 gold earned new task waiting at Atsabul's store. Yeonwoo's voice rings out, calling his Hayoung with urgent excitement. Yeonwoo demands answers, shocked his friend predicted everything perfectly. He decides to spin a lie. The truth sounds absolutely insane. There he claims fantasy novel knowledge, blaming an obscure out-of-print series. Yeonwoo calls him a nerd while a donation notification pops up. Yeonwoo thanks the donor, promising to interrogate his Hayoung thoroughly. He wonders if all live streams are this chaotic and exhausting. Inside him, he decides to trust Yeonwoo with streaming while focusing elsewhere. He asks if this path leads directly to the shop ahead. Yeonwoo reveals Atsabul's map connections work like an interconnected net. He realizes players treat Atsabul the same way they treated Yulio. A crucial NPC has been treated like a criminal by countless players. Atsabul refuses to share information, telling him to get lost. She orders him to move crates instead of freeloading around here. Then she scolds him for getting hurt, warning Hez the only loser. She tosses a magic book, telling him to study instead of hauling. A hand reaches toward a mysterious book with a glowing red gem. Atsabul stands behind iron bars, her expression cold and unreadable. Her boots press against the cell floor. She tells him to look up. She reassures him it's not his fault, promising revenge on someone. Flames engulf the window. Those were her final words before death. He stares, silent, processing the memory of her fiery end. His gloved hand pushes open the door to her quiet shop. He steps inside, finding the space eerily calm and sunlit. Atsabul sits at her counter looking bored and unimpressed. She glances up, her expression shifting to mild curiosity. Next, she asks who he is, claiming she's never seen him. She leans forward, questioning his audacity and approaching her like Thee. He smiles, stating he wants her to teach him magic. She stands laughing at the absurdity of his request. For a moment, she questions why Shed teach a total stranger. He smirks, hinting he already has leverage from the Yulio incident. Her eyes widen, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. She points at him, suddenly realizing his infamous nickname. Suddenly, she leans in, confirming Hez, the player called Black Dragon. She sighs in relief, explaining Yulio tried to frame her as a thief. There, she calls Yulio trash, saying she knew Head caused trouble. She thanks him, rubbing her head in exhaustion. Inside him, she smiles, saying he saved her from a nasty situation. He waves it off, stating he can't stand Yulio either. They share a look of mutual disdain for the shopkeeper. She turns, asking if Hez still looking for that magic book. Her expression shifts, noticing something odd on her own desk. He crosses his arms bluntly, stating she's actually looking for medicine. The camera reveals open books and a diagram about a rare cure. She turns back, eyes wide, offering to help him find what he needs. He confidently tells the blonde he knows about medicine, setting up his expertise. Then he confidently tells the blonde he knows about medicine, setting up his expertise. She describes a mysterious illness with blue pupils, dizziness, and nausea. He admits he doesn't know the illness name, frustrating her. The blonde expresses deep disappointment from repeated letdowns by expert. Flashback shows dark hands symbolizing worthless diagnoses that wasted time and money. She reflects on cycles where hope turns to poison, feeling weary. Next, she lists symptoms. Potions fail healing, magic doesn't work, no hunger. Her hands tremble as she desperately asks if he truly knows the disease. He reveals he knows the treatment, not the name, shocking her. She begs for help, promising proper repayment for saving her mother. He smiles confidently, assuring her he'll definitely get the medicine. A quest appears to find medicine near Edlin for Atsabul's mother. Yeonwoo questions the quest's logic as they walk, confused by the reward. He explains the heroic grade magic book reward is impossibly rare. Yeonwoo explains rank and grade to Hanbit, clarifying the system. A visual shows magic book grades from normal to mythic tier. Hanbit is stunned. A rank 1 spell could be heroic grade. He notes this grading system is new, unlike his previous world. Hanbit decides to test a heroic spell to gauge its power. Yeonwoo asks where to go, but Hanbit hesitates, unsure. Hanbit suddenly clutches his chest, feeling a sharp pain. Yeonwoo panics, asking if he's sick as Hanbit doubles over. Hanbit glitches with blue light, mentioning his mom before vanishing. Yeonwoo stands confused in town, wondering where his Hayoung vanished. A desperate cry echoes through digital space, someone's calling frantically. Hanbit nervously greets his mom, claiming he's busy with something. Mom's expression turns ice-cold suspicion written all over her face. She storms in furious, demanding why the door was locked. Hanbit quickly shows off the gaming gear, blaming Yeonwoo's gift. He explains they plan to play together after his discharge. Mom recognizes the game from news, warning him not to overdo it. He promises limited playtime since his internship starts tomorrow. Mom's shocked. He actually went through with the internship application. She hits him again, furious. He kept it secret from her. Her hand rises for another strike. This woman doesn't play around. He catches her wrist, accusing her of trying to hold him back. She slaps him anyway, dismissing his accusation with cold word. Mom explodes about nagging him right after discharge, tougher than any fight. Hanbit explains he needs employment quickly for his final semester. Mom falls silent, processing what her son just revealed. She mentions the company's location in Songdo, warning about early morning. Mom insists he never skipped breakfast, noticing he missed it today. He makes a weak excuse about Yanwoo's snack. She calls him out. Hanbit collapses on his bed, finally exhaling with pure relief. He realizes the stream was still running. His internship begins tomorrow. Yanwoo's losing it on stream as chat explodes with viewer. The hidden skills post goes absolutely viral across the community. Commenters flood in, accusing him of faking everything. Trouble's brewing. Kim Jae-ha opens a box muttering about ridiculous streamer claim. Hez, an HR employee at an outsourcing studio, unimpressed. Scrolling his phone, he finds viral marketing streams everywhere. Searching Black Dragon only returns monster database entry. He smirks, the nickname screams immature kid trying too hard. A beat of silence, curiosity winning over skepticism. He stands deciding to investigate this Black Dragon himself. Back in-game, Yanwoo grips his controller nervously. He stammers while chat messages flood the screen demanding answer. For a moment, he panics about his mom walking in mentioning military service. A girl's eyes widen. Something unexpected just caught her attention. Yanwoo's viewer count suddenly spikes through the roof. He stares at the screen, overwhelmed by incoming viewer. His video's going viral, panic mode fully activated now. A message appears, Black Dragon's logging off for work tomorrow. Yanwoo freezes processing the sudden departure message. Another message drops. He'll leave a hint behind before going. Yanwoo reads carefully, something clicking behind his nervous expression. He addresses the chat, revealing Black Dragon left them a gift. The hint reveals bomb slimes drop the cure for Atsible's quest. Scene shifts, real-world cityscape under a bright afternoon sky. Hanbit checks his phone, navigating unfamiliar streets outside. He psyches himself up. First day at the new job. Suddenly, he enters the office, greeting everyone with a nervous smile. A senior employee immediately yells. Revisions still aren't submitted yet. The coworker stares, utterly confused by the sudden yelling. He complains loudly, questioning if HR even does their job. A close-up shows pure, unimpressed annoyance at the chow. He orders Minho to take the intern and set up. Minho introduces himself, offering help with a professional nod. He tells Hanbit to leave his bag and follow. In the meeting room, Minho asks him to move the whiteboard. Hanbit diligently wipes the board clean, following instruction. Another employee enters, puzzled by the extra person in the room. The man sips his coffee, bluntly asking, "Who, Hanbit?" "I." Hanbit bows, formally introducing himself as the new intern. He declares he'll do his best during the internship. The team leader coldly replies, "Just do what you're told." After tidying up, he's told he can finally leave. Hanbit exits the room, looking drained from the first day. He thinks the company's future looks bleak, but it's a job. Back in the game, his boot glitches with blue light. Hanbit returns, apologizing for missing messages after his chaotic day. Yanwoo greets him with an overly sparkly, cheerful smile. Hanbit asks what's with that weird, intense face. Yanwoo's grin widens, looking suspiciously eager for something. He excitedly shows the tablet. The viewer count has exploded. They finally start the quest, asking if anyone's cleared it yet. Yanwoo laughs, teasing the chat for their lack of imagination. He declares hell show them the strategy, heading to the main gate. Yeonwoo questions his Hong's newbie status while walking together. Hanbit claims fantasy novels taught him everything about game mechanic. Yeonwoo dismisses it, but asks him to just trust him. They notice crowds gathering ahead. Something's definitely happening here. Someone shouts that the Vanguard has finally arrived in town. A formidable group of elite players stands assembled together. Yanwoo confirms these are real Vanguard members. News spread fast. Hanbit asks what exactly the Vanguard even mean. A Vanguard member explains they are the top 10,000 players worldwide. A mage explains ranking combines level proficiency and story progress. Only 500 Korean players made that exclusive list. Hanbit questions if even these elites couldn't learn magic, yet someone notices a distinctive bow on a hooded player nearby. The Golden Plume Bow. A craftsman's decent work, Hanbit recall. Hanbit asks if even Vanguard players failed Atsible's quest. Yanwoo explains most Vanguard players are backed by corporation. A hand taps Hanbit's shoulder. Someone wants his attention. A girl recognizes him as Black Dragon, demanding quest progress. Another player argues it was all lies from the start. Flashback reveals he once got scammed and stripped to underwear. Hanbit deflects, suggesting they head toward the sea first. He mentions the bomb he fishing rod, the cure. Bomb the bombs, the 4 fishing rod for the Yanwoos confused. Fishing rod chats equally bewildered by donation reveals fish prices exploding as viewers exploit the hint. Hanbit smirks. They have no idea what's actually happening. Yanwu questions why they need the fishing rod. Hanbit dodges with a cryptic grin. Yanwu panics about the stream's legitimacy. Hanbit casually demands 70,000 gold. Yanwu's brain short-circuits completely. A massive crowd gathers below them. Hanbit senses even more viewers watching. Hanbit promises repayment. Yanwu skeptical. An old fisherman sits peacefully by shore. Hanbit approaches the elderly stranger. He offers to buy the fishing rod. Hanbit bids 50,000 gold up front. The old man stays eerily silent. He counters sharply. 100,000 gold. Hanbit negotiates down to 60. They settle at 50 after bickering. The old man grumbles about disrespectful youth. Hanbit celebrates while chat calls him trash. Yanwu admits streaming suits his Hanyang. Hanbit stands ready in the slime field. Yanwu suggests roleplay. Hanbit hates it. Chat asks about bomb slime's sensitivity. A slime detonates violently on contact. Hanbit tests another from distance. Yanwu gets blasted by the explosion. He explains just touching those slimes makes them explode. The poor kid looks terrified as they pop anyway. Yanwu questions his fishing rod plan against useless monster. Someone steps carefully through the grass, approaching quietly. He finds the perfect height to catch a slime. The rod feels different. Hell need to adjust his grip. More slimes wobble around, unaware of what's coming. Yeonwoo calls out to him, sensing something's off. A donation warns them. Idiots are following their stream. He already knew they were being watched this whole time. They've had tails since leaving the city, staying distant. Multiple groups lurk in the shadows, eyes fixed on them. He asks to borrow Yeonwoo's screen for a moment. Smirking, he prepares to teach those followers a lesson. He adjusts the settings, planning to mess with them. Flashback, he always loved fantasy novels during his service. No one in his unit shared his nerdy hobby. He reread the same books alone to pass time. Then a junior soldier arrived, changing everything for him. He excitedly asked if the rookie knew his favorite novel. The junior not only knew it, he spotted hidden detail. Hanbit was stunned. The kid noticed things Head missed. A realization dawns on him, something clicking inside. He exclaims the junior is amazing, like Head lived it. After discharge, seeing the game commercial confirmed his decision. Hanbit remembers his military buddy realizing they'd dominate this game together. Yeonwoo warns his Hyung, the stream only broadcasts his perspective right now. Hanbit positions himself above the slimes, pretending to focus on them. Yeonwoo cheerfully asks viewers to follow while his Han adjusts setting. Hanbit smirks, knowing stalkers can only watch from Yeonwoo's limited view. He realizes the tailing groups are anxious competitors about to crack. The standoff between multiple groups tailing them won't last much longer. Someone steps forward, impatiently breaking the careful distance they'd maintained. Hanbit gazes upward calmly, sensing the pressure building around them. Some impatient players decide to jump the gun and attack first. Hanbit raises a single finger, signaling his trap is ready now. He bows mysteriously as chat floods with confused questions about it. His gloved hands grip the fishing rod with sudden, deliberate intensity. The line whips forward with tremendous force toward the slime field. He reveals the rod from Old Man Eldruck has a hidden purpose. The special hook won't trigger the bomb slime's explosive reactions on contact. His thumb presses a concealed button on the rod's handle firmly. Sharp thorns burst from the hooks, tip piercing the slime's core. The controlled explosion erupts exactly where Hanbit intended it to land. He watches calmly as the blast catches every slime in range. A single dazed slime wobbles on the ground, still somehow alive. The stalkers stare in complete shock at what just happened here. Their leader orders everyone to fall back immediately from this disaster. He glances upward, hearing something heavy rustling in the branches above. Bomb slimes rain from the trees. Hanbit turned their ambush into chow. Hanbit's eye suddenly glows yellow. Something's activating inside him. He stands ready with the fishing rod, Yeonwoo impressed. Hanbit grins, boasting about handling stream snipers cleanly. He raises the rod high, ready to begin fishing. A strange golden slime emerges from between the rock. The hook catches something glowing inside the unusual slime. He reels it in carefully. It's not exploding like other. The golden slime lands safely in his collection bag. Hanbit celebrates triumphantly. Chat calls it a dud slime. He explains, wiped slimes sometimes transform into harmless dud. Yeonwoo asks if copying this clears everyone's quest easily. Hanbit struggles, controlling the wriggling slime in his bag. Someone pants heavily, hiding in the bushes nearby. Kim Jae-ha nearly got caught. His cover was almost blown. He realizes Black Dragon isn't some random newbie player. A corporate front, massive company backing him from behind scene. Jae-ha wonders why partner with such a tiny streamer. Maybe it's distraction. Vanguard discovers things to mislead player. Either way, Jae-ha needs to clear Atsible's quest himself. Clearing it alone fills his entire monthly performance quota, but nothing ever works out for poor Kim Jae-ha. Atsible stares at their offering with visible disgust. She screams, "It looks like poison, not medicine at all." Hanbit and Yanwu exchange nervous, uncertain glances together. Atsubal offers money and demands they just leave immediately. He smirks, telling her she wasn't as desperate as she claimed. Her face flushes with anger at his smug comment. She yells, "Furious head, speaks such nonsense without knowing anything." He suddenly grabs her, feeding her something against her will. She chokes, swallowing whatever he forced into her mouth. A chibi flashback shows him tricking her into eating the item. The blonde looks horrified, realizing he fed her that thing. She doubles over, violently sick from whatever he gave her. He grins, declaring his method works perfectly as she retch. She storms over, grabbing him and screaming in his face. He calmly asks if a seed-like thing came out of her. There he reveals that seed was the actual cause of her illness. She's stunned, processing that her sickness was caused by that. He states he could tell she'd been suffering in pain too. She collapses, overwhelmed, as he explains her silent suffering. He continues, saying she hid it to protect her mother. Inside him, he adds she feared scum like Yulio would use it against her. She asks, bewildered, how he could possibly know all that. He says he understands, so he won't call her foolish for it. A graphic shows the parasitic seed growing inside a creature's stomach. He explains she likely ate it on an ingredient from the south. Then he reveals bomb slime mucus is the only thing that detaches it. That's why they needed a dud slime that doesn't explode. The explosive property is removed, leaving only the vomiting toxin. Once she spit it out, she won't need any more medicine. He hands her the cure, telling her to go to her mother. Hanbit holds the medicine, whispering Atsubal's name softly. His eyes narrow. She hasn't changed at all since he knew her. Still the same fool who worries about others' pain more than her. Flashback hits her rough words, but she always defended him fiercely. Atsubal smiles warmly across the counter, and he wishes her happen. Cutscene trigger. She brings the medicine to her sick mother. A spoonful of golden cure, just one sip is all it take. She feeds her mother carefully, hands trembling with desperate hope. Atsubal watches, anxiously clutching her jacket as her mother reacts. Her green eyes widen in pure shock at what's happening. She explains huge seeds poured out when mom threw up. Furious at those quack. Standing tall, she vows nobody's getting near her mother ever again. Hanbit smiles gently. It's been so long since he saw her like stream down her face as she thanks him sincerely. He waves it off, telling her they didn't really do anything. She insists they saved both her and her mother from despair. Atsubal turns around, playfully mentioning she owes them a reward. The legendary magic book appears, ornate with a massive red gem. He accepts it quietly, but she insists she's the one thanking him. Yanwu begs to touch it just once, calling his Hein the best. Atsubal stops them. She's not finished handing out gifts yet. She drops a massive bag of loot in front of them both. Yeonwoo realizes this haul exceeds the original quest rewards by far. System announces first clear bonus granted. Hanbit stunned what just happened. Reward amounts maxed out. Gold doubled to 4,000. Stat points jump from 3 to 5 instantly. Experience bar fills. 200 EXP added. Hanbit gains 5 extra levels and bonus stat point. The magic book's rarity upgrades from heroic to unique. Hanbit stares blankly, completely confused by what's happening. He figured helping Atsubal was reward enough already. Yanwu realizes first clear means something huge happened. The unique book glows on the ground. Nobody expected the Yanwu stammers about the unique the Yanwu nervously tries getting his Hayoung to speak. Chat explodes with donations. Yanwu panics, trying to calm everyone. The chat moves too fast. Yanwu can't even read it. Atsubal hands Hanbit something else. Another reward apparently. Hanbit's surprised. There's still more loot coming his way. Screen transitions with a blue digital effect. Achievement unlocked. Atsubal's first savior with bonus stat point. A mysterious prophecy scroll appears in Hanbit's hand. Atsubal refers them to a blacksmith for proper weapon. She points out their gears wrecked from bomb slime. Atsubal reminds Hanbit he fed her that horrible stench. She genuinely thanks him and offers future help anytime. Hanbit quietly accepts her generous offer with a smile. Yeonwoo asks what they should do next. Uncertain, the world's open after Edlin. Freedom awaits, but map warns them about dangerous high-level zones ahead. Yeonwoo teases Hanbit about his plain avatar choice. Hanbit shrugs, saying he spent hours sculpting his look. A cat girl appears, reminding them avatars can be deceiving. Hanbit wonders aloud where they should venture next. His eyes widen suddenly, sensing something unexpected nearby. A donation demands to see Atsubal's angry face again. Yeonwoo screams with joy at the massive 50,000 won gift. Hanbit immediately asks if he gets half that money. Another viewer donates, joking about Atsubal's parasitic plan. A third donation praises Hanbit as an insane rank 1 newbie. Flame Charisma drops 100,000 won, praising fire magic. Yeonwoo's jaw drops at the enormous 100,000 won donation. The stream viewer count skyrockets past 8,000 watcher. Hanbit realizes they hit 8,000 from one quest. Both characters thank their supporters for the overwhelming response. Hanbit calculates his cut, 250,001. Yeonwoo performs a ridiculous gratitude dance for the stream. Hanbit sees potential for serious money if this continue. He clenches his fist, determined to finally repay mother. A missing person notice reveals Hanbit vanished during enlistment. His mother sits surrounded by papers, still searching desperately. Yeonwoo urges Hanbit to try the magic book now. Hanbit's fingers touch the glowing gem on the cover. Rid digital light engulfs him as something activates violently. The system displays the new fireball spell, a unique rank attack. Hanbit finds it underwhelming, recalling a past struggle for the same skill. Yeonwoo excitedly explains how the knowledge just poured into his head. Both stare in confusion, a question mark hanging between them. They laugh it off, attributing the weird delay to a system quirk. A chilling thought crosses Hanbit's mind about his otherworld skill. He connects it to the game's existing character label from the start. Yeonwoo snaps him back, urging him to perform for the waiting viewer. Hanbit agrees, pointing toward a large rock as a test target. He focuses, intently visualizing the spell's image in his palm. Next, he takes a deep, steadying breath, preparing to cast. Yeonwoo watches wide-eyed as Hanbit unleashes the fireball. The spell rockets forward, trailing a massive arc of flame. A colossal explosion engulfs the target, shaking the ground. Yeonwoo cheers wildly at the impressive display of power. Hanbit smugly starts to comment on the rank 1 skill's strength. His expression suddenly freezes, eyes wide with shock. A dark, ominous energy begins to swirl around him. A system window reveals a new title, Recorder of 55 Cycle. Giant glowing eyes appear in the void above him. Hanbit confronts the mysterious presence, demanding an explanation. A spectral hand reaches down, pulling him into the starry abyss. He lands hard, gasping for breath in a strange, colorful space. The title's effect is revealed. His skill proficiency grows based on past experience. A second locked effect teases a future power tied to the keyword spirit. Hanbit grits his teeth, frustration boiling over inside him. He clutches his leg, cursing that damned goddess under his breath. Holding his head, he realizes she's been watching him this whole time. Yeonwoo asks if He's okay, but Hanbit waves him off. He thinks explaining won't help. Yeonwoo wouldn't understand anyway. Yeonwoo excitedly begs to see a normal grade spell demonstration. Hanbit reluctantly agrees, warning him not to laugh at what comes next. Yeonwoo takes a deep breath, preparing himself for the showcase. He shouts fireball with dramatic flare, flames erupting around him. A pathetic tiny flame flickers on Hanbit's chest. Underwhelming doesn't cover it. Hanbit calls it cool in its own way, which enrages Yeonwoo completely. Yeonwoo celebrates his D-rank fire magic book. Despite brutal proficiency requirement, he whines about unfairness while Hanbit smirks, enjoying the meltdown. A dark thought crosses Hanbit's mind about hidden proficiency gap. He tells Yeonwoo has got completely the wrong idea about magic. Hanbit lectures that magic isn't some simple click-and-release mechanic. Walking together, he declares magic is math. Every chant requires precise calculation. He explains he won't rely on staffs despite having a unique rank. Yeonwoo interrupts, calling out to his Hayoung with exasperation. He reminds Hanbit he literally made this character yesterday. Both look confused. Chat mocks Hanbit's over-immersion and refusal to main a unique book. Hanbit grins, dangerously calling the chat viewers little punk. He grabs Yeonwoo, screaming about what they know about magic, ranting about quest info. Hanbit loses it while Yeonwoo desperately tries calming him. A donation rolls in, 77,777, one telling the mage to calm down. Both freeze, realizing the donation just called them out completely. They play it off, bowing humbly for the stream audience. Hanbit smirks privately. When did he become such a money grubber? He leans forward eagerly, asking where they should head next. Hanbit's expression turns thoughtful. He already knows their destination. A weathered wooden building sits nestled among the trees. Yeonwoo questions skipping the main story, but Hanbit has priority. Skills first, story later. Hanbit's got a specific plan in mind. His gloved hand pushes open the heavy wooden door slowly. Inside, someone works at a bench, back turned to them. Taxidermied heads line the walls. Hunting trophies from past kill. Yeonwoo shivers, hating how this creepy place always unsettles him. A muscular man turns around, cleaver in hand. Hunter Reikner. Hanbit announces his purpose calmly. Hez here to learn archery. Reikner slams meat down hard, asking if that's really so. The hunter leans in close, demanding to know if Hanbit has grit. Hanbit grins confidently, claiming Hez got both grit and skill. A quest window appears. Reikner's trial with specific requirements listed. They step outside to an open range with targets waiting. Hanbit confirms the rules. 30 shots, 200 points to Paye. Yeonwoo panics, begging his Hayoung to invest in agility first. Hanbit's fingers find an arrow, pulling it from his quiver. He draws the bowstring, back eyes locked on distant target. The arrow launches with tremendous force, screaming through the air. Target explodes on impact. What just happened here? Hanbit tells Yanwu to put points into agility. He says got the feel for it. Yanwu awkwardly wishes him luck. Yanwu looks confused, scratching his head. An arrow splits the target's center perfectly. Yanwu shouts in utter disbelief. He stares awestruck at the bullseye. Hanbit draws his bow with intense focus. Yanwu asks what his Hyung-ai. A rapid volley of arrows flee. All 26 arrows strike the same spot. The target explodes from the concentrated impact. Wooden stand splinters apart completely. Hanbit clenches his fist in triumph. His total score is an impossible 287. The scene shifts to a quiet town. Gold coins clatter onto a stone floor. A hand catches them bored by the sound. A warrior complains about boring, weak opponent. She looks up, sensing something interesting. Two silhouettes appear in a bright doorway. She smirks, calling them idiots for approaching. Yanwu happily hums, clutching their loot. Hanbit gives him a completely deadpan look. Yanwu can't stop smiling at their fortune. Yanwu gushes over Hanbit's archery skills, wondering if he trained before. His eyes literally turn to dollar signs, dreaming of future rich. Hanbit explains his clever trap with the fishing rod and bomb slime. Yanwu asks where they're headed next, eager for the next adventure. Hanbit declares has learning swordsmanship, but first needs the quick step skill. Yanwu is baffled, pulling out his tablet to check the skill's detail. He protests that quick step is a top-tier useless skill with no real application. Hanbit dismisses the whining and strides off, telling him to follow. Yeonwoo scrambles after his Hyung, calling for him to wait. They arrive in town and Hanbit points out the NPC instructor named Rhea. Rhea stands confidently explaining why most avoid the skill she teaches. Yeonwoo nervously asks Hanbit if he's really sure he can do Thai. Hanbit remains silent, his feet planted firmly as he prepares. He steps forward to face Rhea, who looks him over with interest. Hanbit states plainly he's here to learn what she's best at. Rhea smirks, acknowledging his spirit but hinting at a catch. In a blur of motion, she demonstrates her blinding speed with a slash. She effortlessly snatches Hanbit's pouch, the movement almost too fast to see. Rhea turns her back, taunting them for being way too slow. She turns back with a sly grin, demanding 5,000 gold as tuition. Hanbit leans casually, telling her to just teach the skill if it's tuition. He thinks to himself, recalling how much gold she stole over 55 regression. Rhea pauses, considering his strange, unwavering confidence with a curious look. She smiles, admitting she really doesn't like him. But then, Rhea dashes off, yelling for them to try and catch her if they can. A new quest pops up: find Rhea within the time limit. Hanbit learns from chat you can't physically catch her once she bolt. The timer starts, no other quests allowed, and logging out pauses it. Hanbit decides they need help to catch this elusive Rhea. They ask a woman to find Rhea, which clearly surprises her. Shiz Rhea's sister, and she questions how they knew their relation. Hanbit lies, claiming it's common knowledge around the hideout street. The sister sighs and reluctantly agrees to assist them. She asks if they're two sisters. Hanbit mentions seeing graffiti. Chat is confused, but Hanbit smirks at their oversight. Hanbit notes that throwing Atsubal in jail would have broken this quest. The sister urges Hanbit to stop dawdling and join the search. Meanwhile, Rhea plays with a cat, humming tunelessly. She smugly thinks the hunters have surely given up by now. Suddenly, her sister finds her, calling her name unexpectedly. Rhea is utterly shocked to see her big sister standing there. The sister confronts her and Rhea stammers in complete surprise. Sister scolds Rhea fiercely for stealing from people's pocket. Rhea bursts into tears, apologizing profusely to her angry sister. The sister warns her about ending up with scumbags like Yulio. She tells Rhea to return to the shop once she's done. Rhea meekly agrees, knowing she's in deep trouble. Hanbit thanks Atsubal for her crucial help in this me. Rhea hands over the quest book, impressed by his persistence. She remarks she's never seen anyone quite like him before. Rhea hands over the quest book, genuinely impressed by his persistence. A system window confirms the quest completion with massive reward. Atsubal flies off, declaring their transaction complete and grow. Yeonwoo stumbles in, asking if Hanbit is already finished. Hanbit proudly displays his newly upgraded unique rank magic book. He declares their next goal is to learn swordsmanship. Green light engulfs his hands as the book is consumed. Hanbit muses on the strange feeling of items vanishing. Yeonwoo relays a chat question about learning the quick step skill. Hanbit explains it with a simple race analogy. A graphic shows the 1 second difference that wins the race. Yeonwoo argues the skill's effect is too small to matter. He eagerly asks if they're learning swordsmanship next. Hanbit dryly relays chat's teasing comment about Yeonwoo's leg. Hanbit observes most players, including Yeonwoo, follow the same path. He attributes this to everyone using the same beginner guide. A flashback reveals Yulio's scam blocked players from finding Atsubal. This kept her quest hidden and made her an unknown NPC. Hanbit realizes his first-time clears are significant hint. His past experiences are pointing him toward the correct path. He resolves to clear the game his own way. Hanbit looks up, questioning the goddess's mysterious plan. A vision shows him as a puppet, which he vows to end. The duo arrives at a secluded, overgrown training ground. Yanwu questions the remote location as Hanbit explains the concept. Hanbit points excitedly toward a distant red pavilion. Yanwu shouts their purpose to the silent figure inside. The swordsman Balder remains still unimpressed by their arrival. A close-up reveals Balder's sharp, assessing eye. Yanwu shivers, finding the master's presence deeply unsettling. Balder stands, his sword skill title appearing ominously. He instructs them to simply swing a wooden sword. Hanbit grabs a practice sword ready to begin. Balder states no speeches are needed, just action. A real sword lies discarded on the ground nearby. Hanbit starts swinging his movements, creating powerful wind. Yanwu explains the quest has 2 stages to the stream. Chat messages debate how long the trial typically take. A clip plays of a player being PK'd by Balder. Yanwu nervously comments on the terrifying NPC. Donations flood in betting on Hanbit's completion time. Yanwu panics over the massive 800-1 mission pot. Hanbit stands ready, wooden sword in hand. He closes his eyes, focusing before the real test. Balder explains swinging isn't about time or count. The narration notes Balder's low expectations for beginner. Flashback shows most players see swords as a safe choice. Balder finds that casual mindset insulting to the blade. Hanbit grips his sword, showing a serious attitude. Master and student lock eyes, the true trial beginning. Hanbit raises his hand, signaling Hez ready for the next challenge. The instructor calls it enough, but the mission isn't officially complete yet. A system window pops up. Stage 2 of the trial just unlocked. Yanwu's eyes light up, thrilled they progressed this fast. He demands the chat acknowledge their sub-minute clear as legitimate. Sword King drops 10,001, proposing a double or nothing gamble. Hanbit raises an eyebrow, questioning if the donor's really Serio. Sword King escalates to 100,000, block 4 strikes, or face real bungee jumping. Hanbit calculates quietly, worried his low proficiency might make this impossible. Yanwu panics, screaming, has terrified of heights and shouldn't be included. Hanbit gives him a suspicious, half-lidded look that makes Yanwu uneasy. Yanwu stammers, nervously sensing something fishy about his Hyung's expression. Hanbit pats his shoulder reassuringly. No bungee jumping, he promised. A confident smirk spreads across Hanbit's face as he says, "Trust me." Sword King drops 1,000,001, impressed by their friendship display. Both characters freeze, completely stunned by the massive donation. Hanbit does the math. 8,000,001 total on the line now. The instructor stands silently watching the chaos unfold with calm patience. Hanbit grips the wooden sword, tightly, knuckles whitening with foco. Blue energy crackles along the blade as he channels his skill. He drops into a low stance, ready to face whatever comes next. The instructor launches forward with terrifying speed, blade already swinging. A devastating stomp cracks the earth, sending shockwaves outward. The instructor unleashes a rapid barrage of strikes from every angle. Hanbit grins, wildly shouting, "Here we go!" as the real fight begins. A blindingly fast strike cuts through the air. Hanbit grits his teeth, barely blocking the powerful blow. Yanwu watches, utterly shocked by the sheer force. Hanbit strains his arms, trembling from the impact. He manages to push the attack aside. Yanwu screams in disbelief. Hanbit actually blocked it. A low chuckle escapes from under the wide hat. Rhea dashes forward, her movements a fluid blur. Hanbit's eyes narrow, tracking her impossible speed. Their wooden training swords clash with a sharp crack. The force of the exchange sends them both skidding back. Hanbit notes his in-game movements feel sluggish. He realizes it must be his gear's sync rate. Rya's next attack slams into the ground, kicking up dust. Hanbit uses quick step to narrowly evade the follow-up. Rhea pauses, observing his thoughtful expression. She asks if Hez getting cocky or just disappointed. Hanbit smirks, turning the question right back on her. Rya's eyes narrow under her hat. Shiz reassessing him. She declares she'll end this charade right now. Hanbit grins, fiercely ready to see it through. Rhea launches into a devastating high-speed assault. Hanbit meets her head on their swords, locking in a storm of blue light. Yanwu panics, screaming for his Hyung as the clash intensify. He watches, horrified, as Hanbit barely dodges a lethal-looking strike. Balder thinks Hanbit's probably getting nervous now. He realizes he should have ended this ages ago. The master unleashes a devastating overhead strike. Hanbit barely dodges the crushing blow. Balder's eyes widen in genuine surprise. Hanbit grins, calling out his sloppy movement. Balder launches himself airborne for another attack. Hanbit spots the incoming strike just in time. He mutters that one's genuinely dangerous. Balder's foot crashes down with tremendous force. The impact sends shockwaves rippling across the ground. Swordsman's silhouette crackles with overwhelming energy. Hanbit braces himself, wooden sword raised high. Both weapons collide with bone-jarring intensity. Hanbit gets launched, backward sword flying free. Balder stands victorious, the duel seemingly decided. Hanbit lies defeated, having blocked 4 strike. Yanwu screams that the mission's complete. Hanbit collapses exhausted while chat explodes with reaction. System announces the sparring session has ended. Both sit together discussing the mission money. Yeonwoo questions if hell actually get paid. Hanbit brings up meeting during their army day. He suddenly grabs Yeonwoo by the collar. Yeonwoo demands to know what his Hayoung did before enlistment. Hanbit shrugs off the chat's wild guesses about his real job. Yeonwoo asks if all the mission money goes to Hanbit. Hanbit confirms it, saying Yeonwoo's mechanics cleared the missions anyway. Hanbit checks his tablet, relieved the bungee jump bet was fake. Yeonwoo realizes the bet wasn't real, as chat mocks him. A huge donation from Sword King encourages Hanbit to keep sword training. Hanbit thanks the donor, promising to use the sword a lot. Balder leans against a tree, his calm demeanor hiding his irritation. Hanbit senses the master must be furious after their sparring. Balder's quiet posture betrays the anger he's struggling to contain. Hanbit figures Balder blames himself for letting a newbie read him. Balder's sharp gaze asks if their sparring session is finally over. The master tells Hanbit to weight his tone, leaving no room for argument. Hanbit watches Balder walk away, noting the master's barely contained fury. Balder returns and silently hands Hanbit a glowing, ornate skill book. Hanbit accepts the book, mentally tallying his 4th major skill acquisition. A system window confirms the quest completion with maximum rewards granted. Another donation arrives, this one begging Hanbit for sword tutoring. Hanbit glances at the chat, seeing a flood of similar requests. He tells Yeonwoo to handle the chat's reactions for him. Yeonwoo eagerly offers his own tutoring, but the chat immediately rejects him. Hanbit turns back to Balder, calling his name to get his attention. He directly asks the master if he has something else for him. Balder stands silently, his expression unreadable under the wide hat. Balder reveals his master has moved his residence to Edlin. A mysterious cloth is handed over with a cryptic instruction. The swordsman explains it will get his master's attention. Cloth bears a strange symbol and a riddle. Hanbit ponders the clue, a plan already forming. He decides they should head back to the city first. Yeonwoo is confused but follows his lead. A donation pops up noting the late hour in activity. They confirm their next goal is finding Balder's master. Hanbit abruptly calls an end to their session. He logs out, needing sleep before his real job. The game world dissolves into digital streams of light. Hanbit removes his VR gear, complaining about the heat. Hez drenched in sweat from the intense training. His phone buzzes with a notification from Yeonwoo. Yeonwoo cheerfully announces Hez sending Hanbit's share. A bank alert shows a deposit of 3 million won. Hanbit stares, utterly shocked by the massive amount. His eyes widen in disbelief at the sudden wealth. He questions if this is just from today. For a moment he realizes his playtime was barely over 10 hours. The thought crosses his mind, maybe he doesn't need his job. He immediately shakes the thought away, feeling guilty. Suddenly, he apologizes to his viewers, insisting streaming is just a hobby. Yeonwoo texts excitedly, asking if they'll keep streaming. Hanbit sits conflicted, knowing a steady job offers real security. Hanbit smiles softly, wishing he could make her happy. Someone screams his full name. Never a good sign. His mom catches him on the floor at dawn. She is furious, waving her phone about mysterious money. Hanbit's eyes widen, has caught completely off guard. The screen shows a 3 million won deposit. She whacks his head, accusing him of shady dealing. He swears it's legitimate, earned through honest work. Mom's not buying it. Gambling's the only explanation she sees. He brings up Yeonwoo and their streaming venture. Chibi versions celebrate their unexpected gaming success together. He reassures her he'd never do anything illegal. Mom heads to work, promising to continue this conversation later. He insists Hez telling the absolute truth here. She pauses at the door, worried he'll burn out. Hanbit sits alone, processing everything that just happened. His eyes harden with quiet determination. Don't worry. His hand presses against the door, thinking of her debt. He vows to give her the comfortable life she deserves. After 55 regression cycles, reality should feel trivial. Reality hits hard. His boss catches him completely spaced out. The boss demands he keep his head straight at work. Mentor Lee Minho hands him documents, then disappears on fieldwork. The content's complex, but organized perfectly for understanding. Just as he starts working, the team leader calls him. The team leader berates Hanbit, calling him a trial version over trivial matter. He casually tosses his credit card, ordering Hanbit to fetch coffee. Hanbit nervously asks the team leader what everyone wants. The leader scoffs, annoyed at the simple question. He glares, stating they only drink iced Americanos here. Hanbit flusters, claiming he must have forgotten Mentor Lee Minho's instruction. Hanbit realizes the leader is just looking for an excuse to target Minho. The simple errand feels unnervingly heavy as he walks out. Returning, he finds Minho now getting chewed out instead. Minho listens with empty, dead eyes, used to the abuse. He slowly opens his mouth to respond to the tirade. Minho calmly states the new workload makes the task impossible. The leader sneers, throwing papers and accusing Minho of defiance. Papers scatter everywhere as the leader shouts in Minho's face. Hanbit interrupts, cheerfully presenting the leader's iced coffee. The sudden interruption causes the leader to spill the drinks everywhere. Leader glares at Hanbit, realizing the accident was deliberate. He mutters unbelievable seething at the chow meow interruption. After cleaning up, they return to their desks, but Minho is unsettled. Minho's reflection in his monitor looks emptier than ever. He apologizes to Hanbit for making him witness the ugly scene. Hanbit brushes it off, blaming the leader's bad mood. Minho reveals the leader dumped a massive new dev project on him. He explains this will consume all his time, halting his mentorship. Hanbit reveals he saw the papers, it's a project related to RP. Hanbit explains his work involves complex gear, hardware testing. A suited colleague offers to help with his project. Hanbit waits outside, exhausted after another draining day. Someone calls out, excitedly waving from across the street. Hanbit turns around, completely confused by the greeting. Yanwoo appears, asking how his day at work went. Yanwoo notices Hanbit's exhaustion, asks if he even slept. They head inside Odia Coffee to catch up. Hanbit groans loudly, barely holding himself together. He vents about office life and his terrible team leader. Hanbit collapses on the table, asking what Yanwoo wanted. Yanwoo pulls out his phone with an excited grin. He shows messages flooding in from yesterday's stream. Yanhua Gaming offers 100 million won starting salary. Yeon Woo suggests picking a company, recommends one specifically. Hanbit's expression darkens. Yeon-woo notices something's wrong. Yeon-woo urges him to stop bottling things up. Yeon-woo calls out Hanbit's terrible lying skill. Hanbit questions if Yeon-woo really wants him joining a corporation. Yeon-woo stammers, insisting his intentions aren't bad. Hanbit grabs Yan-woo's head, demanding honesty about feeling. Yan-woo screams dramatically from the headlock. Yan-woo whines about Hanbit being so mean to him. Yan-woo wanted Hanbit to land a good job somehow. Hanbit acknowledges the offer, but reminds Yan-woo who started that. Yan-woo leans forward, wanting to hear what his Hyung needs first. He admits RP doesn't really suit him despite its popularity. The game's freedom sounded cool, but progress was painfully slow. Hanbit looks up, realizing something about his Hyung. He declares Yan-woo shines brightest in RP to him. A younger Yan-woo dreams of standing right beside his hero. He wants to share every adventure with the whole world. Yan-woo's eyes sparkle with his big MCN proposal idea. Back in reality, he pitches a guild-like company concept. Hanbit remembers this exact conversation from their army day. He questions how they'll actually make money from Thay. Yan-woo reveals Recorder's new VOD feature with solid ad revenue. Their videos are already featured at the platform's top spot. New players will join RP just to follow their journey. Yan-woo pushes to expand while Hanbit calls out the corporate shift. He promises co-CEO status, not employee. This will be fantastic. Hanbit agrees to help, trusting Yan-woo to grow things right. His real reason for playing runs deeper than content creation. RP is his last chance to finally reach Erfurt. Clearing the game might finally give him the answers he needs. He needs to understand why he kept dying over and over. Yan-woo notices his Hyen's strange, distant expression. A phone buzzes with incoming notification. Yan-woo sees Hanbit's phone flooded with new message. Being popular comes with unexpected attention and mystery. Yan-woo stares at his phone, completely bewildered by the chow. He desperately calls someone, begging them to pick up already. The call goes unanswered. Yan-woo shouts in frustration while Hanbit watch. Hanbit recalls the mysterious Golden Bow Vanguard they encountered in Edlin. Yan-woo explains they're from a German corporation called Reichten. At the cafe, they discuss how quest rewards work by completion order. Hanbit's confused. The community's accusing him of planning this whole thing. Back in-game, a furious player screams curses at Rashton's manipulation. His companion tells him to quiet down. Trust is gone now. She hands him a rare book. Scene, he grabbed it in time. There she explains unique ranks don't just get handed out like candy. The bomb slimes have vanished entirely thanks to Rashton's interference. Black Dragon will need to address this mess on stream today. Hanbit quietly wonders just how powerful Rashton really is. Ranger's combat power sits at 9,000, weak for a ranker. A sly smile crosses Hanbit's face. He sees a solution forming. He tells Yeonwoo to delay the stream. He needs to investigate something. Hanbit sips his coffee, mind already racing with possibility. Night falls over the city as apartments glow beneath starlit ski. Hanbit flips through pages of records, searching for something specific. His fingers stop. The data he needed is finally revealed. A knowing smirk appears. He's found exactly what he was looking for. Found it, he whispers, holding the ancient record book triumphantly. Digital light engulfs him as he logs back into the game. The cave entrance awaits. His past memories guide him forward. Bomb slimes clustered together. Hanbit approaches cautiously. Glowing green slimes surround his feet as he steps carefully. His hand reaches back toward his sheathed blade. Something's off, slimes don't normally gather like 3. He spots something deeper in the cave. The bomb slime king emerges. Level 7, king absorbs normal slimes to grow larger. But pulling this many at once, something's wrong. A glint catches his eye near the wall. A monster lure. Someone planted this here deliberately. Level 4, increase new titles, unlock. Hanbit stares in disbelief at the sheer slime count. A mysterious video surfaces on the community forum. Yanwu uploaded the footage, anonymously seething with rage. The comment section erupts, players demanding Rashtan's head. Hanbit researches Zentromber, an NPC from the guidebook, the miner who originally dug the cave, then lost it all, connecting the slime disappearance to the king's emergence. Hanbit confirms Zentromber's existence, pinpointing the king's location. The guidebook lists Zentromber, but something feels off. There is no information about the cave itself. The guidebook's secrets depend on the adventurer's knowledge. Book is full of info, but much is wrong. It feels like key parts were deliberately removed. Hanbit wonders who this mysterious adventurer... really? The conversation shifts to magic's brutal proficiency grind. You must max proficiency to learn the next spell rank. The grind is so inhuman, most just give up. Yeonwoo questions how Hanbit's proficiency is already so high. Hanbit casually reveals he hit 100% in a single day. Yeonwoo begs him to say it's just an April Fool's joke. Hanbit shrugs, saying it's only the lowest rank. Yeonwoo demands proof, shouting that spells take a month. Hanbit opens his skill window, showing the rank 1 spell. Yeonwoo drops to his knees, completely stunned. He tearfully insists it must be some kind of bug. Hanbit just smirks, saying that's just how it happened. He tells Yeonwoo to keep the proficiency secret for now. Yeonwoo protests, saying it would attract insane attention. Hanbit wants to show the audience something even more fun first. He addresses the lovely villains as the stream goes live. The chat explodes with angry messages about Rashtan. Yeonwoo calms everyone, insisting they have zero connection to Rashtan. Hanbit visits Atsubul, mentioning his quest for Baldur's Master. He casually asks if Rhea ran off again. Atsubul sighs, saying that girl just doesn't listen. Hanbit tells her to go easy. Reunion's coming soon. Atsubul smiles softly, clearly touched by his word. She thanks Black Dragon, hoping he's right about everything. Atsubul asks what he needs. Hanbit wants the next spell. She lights up, enthusiastically agreeing without hesitation. The second magic book appears. Fireburst Heroic rank unlocked. Chat argues whether Heroic's good enough standards are warped now. Crowds press against windows, desperate to witness what's happening. Hanbit studies the ancient pages, absorbing forbidden knowledge. Golden light erupts around him as the spell takes hold. Yeonwoo screams the news. Black Dragon just ranked up again. Atsubul hints about Ifrit's magic research lab for future help. Hanbit's footsteps echo as he heads toward the exit. He and Yeonwoo slip through the door, unaware of Watcher. A massive crowd has gathered outside. Things just got complicated. A hooded figure smirks knowingly from the shadow. Hanbit and Yeonwoo walk straight through the sea of player. Hanbit casually tells the hooded guy to relax his face. The mysterious figure mutters, hoping things go well this time. Inside players mob Atsubul, demanding the magic book immediately. Rashtan's forces swarm the building, completely ruthless opportunists. Hanbit and Yeonwoo sit watching, amused by their greed. Hanbit questions Yeonwoo about stopping Rashtan's monopoly. A hooded Hanbit holds books, preparing to open them all. He begins counting down, starting with 1. Yeonwoo watches confused as Hanbit move. The count reaches 2, tension building. On 3, all the books are flung open. The hooded figure smiles, his plan in motion. Hanbit declares it showtime with a smirk. Suddenly, the books burst into magical flame. A player screams as his magic book burn. Another character panics, unable to extinguish the fire. Atsubul watches her shop engulfed in flames furio. She orders everyone out as the chaos spread. Hanbit and Yeonwoo watch, realizing only Rashtan's books burn. A player checks his quest, shocked the rewards changed. The system shows lowered rewards for the magic spell. Hooded figure asks how many actually succeeded. His told the answer is 0, his eye twitching. An angry ranger stomps towards Hanbit's location. Yeonwoo warns Hanbit they're coming, chat noting the ranger's anger. Hanbit stands calmly, arms crossed, facing the approaching figure. The hooded ranger demands to talk, his tone menacing.